Hello, this is Moe St from SPS Spindle, and I'm here with Phil Marmo. Phil Marmo does all of our on-site taper grinding. He travels all around the country. So how you been, Phil?
Good, Mo. Those of you who have seen me all over the country, from Alberta to Texas and even into Mexico and California and New England. We cover every industry that's sometimes unique to parts of the country, from aerospace, oil industry, electronics, defense. Everybody who has a spindle has a need for taper grind service.
So Phil, I'm kind of curious, when you're out there doing all these on-site taper grinds, what's the predominant reasons why someone would need an on-site taper grind?
Actually, the largest component of needing my service is often a crash, which would be an emergency, and I would have to get in there as quick as possible to get production back up and running and repair the spindle. But and that's probably the largest percentage. Maybe 80% of my grinds are mishaps. Everybody in the industry is familiar with wear patterns like fretting. Once a taper starts to move once the holder starts to move in the taper, it will begin to wear more rapidly. So it may start out so insignificant that you can't see it, but once the condition's there where it's bell mouth or that holder is starting to fret or move in that taper, it will progressively move more. Another condition is misaligned tool changer, which will wear the taper egg shape. Every time the tool changer changes the holder, it's going to hit one side of the spindle, and over a long period of time that one side will get worn and become egg shaped. So those are all reasons why you may need the service.
What kind of tapers do you do, and is there a common size that you do more than others?
Well, we grind from about a 30 taper up through 50, and I do rarely see, but I've seen 60 tapers, which is quite large. The most common is probably the 40 and 50, but the 40 would be the most common. And then they're both in standard cat and BT and BIG Plus. And with BIG Plus, the issue is it's a really tight tolerance, which is why we have this gauging to measure the tolerance between the face and the taper. And anyone running a BIG Plus spindle should be aware that that spindle is intolerant, especially if they're adding a tooling package or considering a purchase of BIG Plus tooling. They often don't realize that that spindle could be out of spec just from wear, and it's critical that that specification is intolerant.
Well, that's good information. How about HSKs? Can you do those?
We can. Similar to a BIG Plus, an HSK needs both the taper and face to be kept within a tolerance, and both of those tooling systems require a lot of detail in the grinds. They take, where I'll do the average taper in about a 5-hour grind. A BIG Plus spindle or an HSK spindle is going to be dependent on the condition I start with. Once I bring the taper part of the grind into specification, and we bring the face into spec on the taper. So it's hard to predict exactly how long that will take until you get into it, because once you grind a taper, for every thou you take off the taper, you're going to add about 3 thou to the face. So every spindle is a little bit unique in that requirement.
So Phil, what's required to perform this task at the site, customer site?
I do horizontals, verticals, and even some unusual things like integrex, or I've recently done an Akuma mill turn, and each machine is unique, but the common variable is going to be I need to start with a clean table, no fixturing. If it's a horizontal, I need an empty pallet, no tombstone. And on a horizontal, the machine will sit as you see it here, horizontally, where this linear rail will come in and out for the grind motion. On a vertical, this machine is designed so that at 90-degree precision square, when it's sitting on its back, it'll grind up and down or vertically. So I could do a vertical mill, horizontal mill, and if it has live tooling, I can even do a vertical lathe, which is actually, I just ground a vertical lathe in Arizona. So we're pretty diverse, and if we can get the equipment in the machine, we can grind it.
I want to thank you, Phil, for coming by. I literally had to schedule Phil a day off in the area so that he could come by and do this video with me. He just happened to be doing a grind in Massachusetts, so I had to come up here. So how can people get a hold of you, Phil?
Through our website or social media, calling SPS or GunX. I've been everywhere in North America, so many of you have my phone number. It's the breakdown or the emergency that gets me a particular part, and once I'm there, I'll service local market.